The year was 2139. Earth had changed. Cities were taller. Cars could fly. People lived on the moon and worked in space. Technology had grown fast, but people were still people, full of hope, fear, dreams, and stories. Then, one quiet morning, everything changed. In a small lab in northern Canada, a young scientist named Lena Ray was watching space signals. Her job was boring, just checking sounds from the stars. Most days, it was only noise. But today, something was different. A strange pattern appeared on her screen. Beeps, then silence, then more beeps. She stared, her eyes widened. "This is not random," she whispered. She recorded it, cleaned the signal, and ran it through translation software. It took 5 hours. Then the message became clear. "Earth, this is the Galactic Empire. You have 7 Earth days. Surrender, or be destroyed." Lena's hands shook. She called her boss. Her boss called the government. Within an hour, every world leader was on a secret call. Panic spread like fire. In New York, President Aidan Rook stared at the message on the giant screen in front of him. His generals sat around the table, all silent. "This can't be real," one said. But the evidence was strong. A ship the size of a city had entered the edge of Earth's solar system. It was not human. Its shape, energy, and speed were impossible to explain. The news broke out across the internet. People were terrified. Some screamed, some prayed. Some laughed nervously, thinking it was fake. But in a secret military base, deep under the Rocky Mountains, a group of people were not afraid. They were smiling. This group was called Section 9, a hidden team of soldiers, scientists, hackers, and thinkers. They were trained for threats Earth had never faced before. Aliens, time rifts, AI gone rogue. They had plans for everything. At the head of the table sat Captain Mira Voss, a woman in her 40s, with cold eyes and a calm voice. She had fought in the Mars Rebellion and survived the Titan blackout. She was a legend. She looked at the team. "They want us to kneel," she said. "And what do we say?" asked a young soldier. Mira smiled. "We laugh." Across the world, panic grew. Giant ships appeared in the sky, far beyond the moon. People watched them with fear. Governments sent messages, trying to ask for peace. But the Galactic Empire did not reply. They believed Earth would give up. Like the 112 other planets before, none had fought back. All had surrendered. But Earth was different. Back in the hidden base, plans were already moving. Old satellites were reactivated. Defense codes unlocked. A secret project, hidden for 40 years, was powered on. Its name was Project Leviathan. No one outside Section 9 knew what it was. Some thought it was a weapon. Some said it was a decoy. In truth, it was something else. The next day, the Galactic Empire sent another message. This time, it was a video. A tall alien creature with grey skin, glowing eyes, and long arms stood before a star map. It spoke in perfect English. "You are a weak world. Your time is over. You have 6 days. Surrender or burn." People cried. Some tried to leave Earth. Spaceports were full. But in Section 9, the team watched the message and laughed. "Typical tyrants," said Mira. "Loud threats. No real power. Should we send a reply?" asked one of the techs. Mira nodded. "Send them this." A short message was prepared. It was only 12 seconds long. It showed a young girl, around 5 years old, sitting on a chair. She looked into the camera and laughed, pure, loud, joyful laughter. Then a line of text appeared on the screen. "We do not kneel." That was it. The message was sent to the Empire's ship. The alien commander, Overseer Trask, watched the video with confusion. "What is this?" he asked. "It's laughter," said one of his officers. "Is this a joke? They're mocking us." Trask stood up. His face turned dark. "No world has ever mocked the Empire. Earth will pay for this." On Earth, leaders were arguing. Some wanted to surrender. Some wanted to fight. President Rook listened to both sides. He was tired. He was afraid. But when he saw the video sent by Section 9, something changed. He smiled, and he said, "Let's fight." In the last hours of the day, strange lights were seen in the sky. Some said it was a comet. Some said it was a sign from God. But the truth was this: Earth was preparing, not to beg, not to run, but to show the galaxy one simple truth. When you threaten humanity, we don't bow. We rise. The countdown had begun. 6 days, that's all the time Earth had. According to the Galactic Empire, people across the world were afraid. Cities went quiet. Schools closed. Skies were watched day and night, but underground, in a secret base, deep below the Rocky Mountains, Section 9 was not afraid. They were preparing. Captain Mira Voss stood before a large screen. Her arms were crossed, her eyes focused. The screen showed the enemy fleet. Giant alien ships, shaped like floating beasts, were moving closer to Earth. Slowly, confidently, they think they have already won. Mira said, a young soldier, beside her, asked, "Do we have anything strong enough to stop them?" Mira gave a half smile. "We don't need to stop them. We just need to surprise them." In the heart of the base was a locked room. Behind thick steel doors, protected by passwords, retina scans, and voice codes, lived Earth's last secret weapon. Its name, Project Leviathan. No one had seen it in years. Even most world leaders didn't know what it truly was. A short, bald scientist named Dr. Milo Chen stood beside Mira as the doors opened. "Are you sure it's ready?" she asked. Dr. Chen nodded. "It's not perfect, but it's awake." They stepped inside. The room was cold. Lights blinked. Machines hummed. And in the center, something large was resting, covered in black metal, connected to hundreds of wires. At first glance, it looked like a machine. But when it moved, it felt alive. Project Leviathan was not a weapon in the traditional sense. It was a hybrid creation, half machine, half human, built from advanced Earth tech and recovered alien parts from past crash sites. It could learn, adapt, think. Its purpose was simple: defend Earth at all costs. It had been asleep for 10 years now. It opened its eyes. Across the world, human forces were quietly activated. Old satellites were brought back online. Space stations were loaded with supplies. Hidden weapons, built during the last century but never used, were unsealed. But all of this was just Plan B. Plan A was to outsmart the enemy. Meanwhile, on the alien command ship, Overseer Trask was still furious. "How dare they laugh at us?" he growled. His officers were confused. No species had ever done what Earth had done. Usually, planets begged, or offered gifts, or surrendered without a word. But humans, they sent a child laughing. It made no sense. Trask sent a new order to his fleet. "Begin scanning the planet. Find their weak spots. Show them why we rule the stars." Alien drones were launched. They circled Earth from space. They watched cities, power grids, military bases, but they didn't see Section 9. It was invisible, hidden under the radar, protected by technology even the Empire couldn't detect. Back in the underground base, Mira gathered her team. A large hologram appeared in the center of the room, showing Earth's orbit, enemy positions, and human assets. We can't beat them in a head-on war, Mira said. But we can confuse them, split them, and break their confidence. She pointed at key areas in space. We know their communication method. We can jam it. We know their fuel source. We can poison it. We know their pride. We can use it. One of the hackers, a girl named Z, grinned. What if we send them fake data? She asked. Make them think we have hundreds of ships. Mira nodded. Do it. Dr. Chen had another idea. What if we let them land in one city? A trap, filled with decoys. No real people, just machines and illusions. Mira looked at him and smiled. You read my mind. By the end of the second day, humanity had a plan. It wasn't just about weapons. It was about tricks, mind games, and information. Aliens ruled with power. Humans fought with cleverness. Day 3. Overseer Trask received strange reports. Alien scouts had entered Earth's atmosphere and disappeared. No trace, no signals. No debris. Ships that scanned Earth's oceans saw strange heat patterns. But no humans. One fleet detected what looked like a giant Earth defense cannon near Greenland, but when they sent drones closer, it was gone. Just ice. What is happening? Down there, Trask shouted. His officers were nervous. There, hiding something. Later that day, Earth sent another message. It was just one sentence. We see you. Do you see us? Attached was a video. A man in a suit, standing alone in a dark room. He said nothing. He simply lit a match, stared at the camera, and smiled. Then the screen went black. Trask was shaken. This world is wrong, he said. They do not follow the rules. His second-in-command whispered, perhaps they have nothing to lose. Back on Earth, Mira looked at the Leviathan one last time before launch. It's not perfect, she said, but it doesn't have to be. She placed her hand on its cold metal frame. It just has to show them what being human really means. Outside, the stars looked quiet, but war was coming, and this time Earth was ready. 4 days left before the Galactic Empire's deadline. The sky looked calm, but Earth was holding its breath. From the streets of Tokyo to the deserts of Arizona, people waited. News channels kept repeating the same sentence. The aliens are coming. Above Earth, the Zarkon fleet moved like shadows in space. Their ships were black and smooth, silent like hunters in the dark. Inside the lead vessel, Overseer Trask prepared for war. Enough games, he said to his crew. Send the Death Claws. The Death Claws were the Empire's elite ground units, tall, armored, and born for war. No species had survived them. No city had remained standing after their arrival. They were dropped onto Earth, 20 units, like falling stars. They landed in Central Africa, where Earth's defenses seemed weakest. But that was not a mistake. It was a trap in the underground command base. Captain Mira Voss watched the alien drop pods land. They took the bait, she said. The area looked quiet. No military, no humans in sight. Just empty jungle, abandoned villages, and broken roads. But every tree, every stone, every shadow was wired. Hidden drones tracked the aliens. Mines were buried under leaves. Old satellites in orbit targeted the area with precision lasers. And the jungle, it wasn't empty. It was filled with autonomous combat bots, small, fast and smart, built in secret, powered by Earth's last war. The Death Claws stepped out of their pods, weapons ready. They scanned the area, no signs of life. They moved forward. Then the ground beneath them exploded. A fireball lit the trees. Smoke rose into the sky. Half their squad was gone. The rest started firing in every direction, but they couldn't see their enemy from a command drone above. Mira watched the feed. She saw the fear in the aliens' movements. Their training was strong, but they had never fought humans. Humans didn't play fair. Humans didn't stand in straight lines. Humans vanished. Then, struck from the shadows, a single message was sent to the alien commander on the ground. Welcome to Earth. Overseer Trask watched the screen in silence. His elite team was getting picked apart. He had never seen this before. The Death Claws were supposed to be unbeatable, and yet, in less than 2 hours, all 20 units were destroyed. But Earth didn't stop there. While Trask's attention was on Africa, another human team made their move, high above Earth. 3 Zarkon communication satellites were hacked, not destroyed, just rewired. The Empire's ships started receiving false signals, maps that didn't match, targets that didn't exist, voice commands in human languages. Zarkon ships began turning against each other. One Zarkon destroyer fired on another by mistake. Panic spread across the fleet. Inside the command ship, alarms rang. "What is this?" shouted Trask. His tech officer replied, "They've entered our systems. I don't know how." Trask slammed his fist on the table. "They are primitives. They use wires and wheels. How can this happen?" The answer was simple. Humans adapt, and they had found a way to twist alien tech using old tools, strange thinking, and raw creativity, while chaos spread in space. Earth released one final message to the fleet. It was a live video feed. Captain Mira Voss stood in front of the camera, calm, unshaken. "You thought we would kneel. You thought we would beg. But you don't understand us. You don't know what happens when humans are cornered. We don't surrender. We evolve." She leaned forward. "We're not afraid of you. You should be afraid of us." Trask watched the feed in silence. For the first time in decades, he felt something strange. It wasn't anger, it was doubt. On Earth, people began to hope. For the first time, news reports showed victories. Alien attackers defeated in Africa. Empire ships lose control in orbit. Across cities, people cheered. Some cried, some danced. Humanity had been quiet for too long. Now they had found their voice. But the fight wasn't over. Mira knew this was just the beginning. The Empire still had more ships, more weapons, more warriors, but they had lost something important: the illusion of control. That night, in a secret meeting with world leaders, President Aiden Rook spoke. "They are powerful, but they are not gods." He looked around the room. "They bleed, they fear, and now they know our name." In space, the Zarkon fleet pulled back slightly. A small retreat, just enough to regroup. Inside the command ship, Trask sat alone in his chamber. He watched the Earth spin quietly in the distance. "They're not like the others," he said. He opened a file called Human Behavioral Patterns. It was empty. His hands trembled slightly. "They are something new." On Earth, inside the dark chamber of Section 9, Project Leviathan stood silently. It was still not fully ready. But soon it would wake, and when it did, the real war would begin. Day 5. Only 2 days remained before the Galactic Empire's deadline. But Earth wasn't planning to surrender. Not now, not ever. The world was still afraid, but hope had returned. The news of the failed alien attack in Africa had spread across the planet like wildfire. Children drew pictures of human soldiers fighting alien monsters. Social media was full of the words, "We do not kneel." But far above Earth, the Zarkon fleet was still massive. Hundreds of ships, millions of soldiers. One battle lost didn't mean the war was over. Inside the Empire's flagship, Overseer Trask was silent. He stared at the screen showing Earth. He wasn't smiling anymore. "This is different," he said to his officers. "This planet, this species, it's unpredictable." One of his generals replied, "They are still primitive. They use fire and metal. They can't last." Trask shook his head. "You don't understand. They don't fight like others. They fight like animals with brains. Wild, clever, angry." The general frowned. "Shall we prepare another ground team?" Trask paused. "No, this time we do it my way." Back on Earth, Captain Mira Voss was in a dark room beneath Section 9 headquarters. She stood in front of a long black screen filled with data, maps, and glowing red enemy markers. Beside her stood Dr. Milo Chen, eyes locked on a live satellite feed. "The Empire is changing its strategy," he said. "They're no longer targeting military zones." Mira leaned in. "Where are they going?" Dr. Chen pressed a few keys. A map appeared. "Civilians," he whispered. "They're going after the people." Minutes later, alarms rang across multiple continents. Alien dropships began landing near major cities, not to destroy them, but to scare them. Loud sirens echoed. Giant alien walkers marched through the streets. They didn't fire. They didn't attack. They just stood there, like dark statues of death. It was a message. You're not safe. Surrender now, or watch your homes fall. Panic returned. People ran. Some froze. Some cried. But not everyone. In Mumbai, a group of teenage coders turned their computers into jamming stations. In Berlin, retired soldiers gathered old weapons and formed a resistance group. In Mexico City, citizens painted "We stand across buildings." Humans weren't giving up. They were waking up. Inside Section 9, Mira looked at the hologram of Earth and clenched her fists. "They want to break our spirit," she said. "We'll give them something better." She turned to a young communications officer. "Activate the Leviathan, deep below ground, in a secure chamber filled with light and steam." Project Leviathan began to stir. Its systems came online. Its mind, a mix of AI and human consciousness, began to wake fully for the first time. A deep, robotic voice echoed through the chamber. Status: operational. Enemy presence confirmed. Mission: protect humanity. Meanwhile, on the Zarkon ship, Overseer Trask prepared his final speech to Earth. He stood in front of a large screen, ready to broadcast to the entire planet. He practiced the words in his head. "Your time is over. Kneel or burn." But before he could speak, something happened. The lights in the room flickered. The screens glitched, and then a human voice came through the Empire's private system. "Hello, Trask." Trask froze. "Who is this?" The voice answered, calm and confident. "You threatened our homes. You scared our children. You stood in our streets like kings. But you forgot one thing. We are not afraid of giants. We become them." Then the Zarkon system shut down. Every ship went dark for 7 seconds. When the lights returned, a message blinked across their command system. Leviathan has entered the field. The Zarkon officers shouted in fear. They had never lost system control before, not even once in hundreds of years. Trask's face turned pale. What is Leviathan? They got their answer 5 minutes later, in orbit, above Earth's equator. A giant object emerged from the shadows of space. It was black, shaped like a beast with wings, built of metal, but alive in motion. Project Leviathan. It wasn't just a weapon, it was a message that humanity had something new, something born from fear, fire, and fury. It moved fast, too fast. In seconds, it destroyed one of the Empire's frigates with a focused energy beam, then another, and another. The alien fleet scattered. Ships tried to retreat, but Leviathan followed. Earth's people watched the event from the ground. Some cheered, some cried. Everyone believed it was the first time humans had struck fear into the heart of an empire. In the Zarkon command ship, Trask stood frozen. He felt something strange in his chest. Shame, thought for the first time in his life. He whispered to himself, "Maybe we were wrong." Back on Earth, Mira stood beside a screen showing the enemy fleet's retreat. "We've taken their pride," she said softly. Dr. Chen added, "But pride is dangerous. When it's broken, they'll return." And harder. Mira nodded. "Then we'll break them again." Earth wasn't just surviving. Earth was changing the rules. And the galaxy was watching. Day 6. One day before the Galactic Empire's deadline. The stars were no longer quiet. After the rise of Project Leviathan, Earth was no longer seen as a weak world. It had struck first, destroyed enemy ships, and, most importantly, shaken the enemy's pride. But now, things were changing again. The enemy was not attacking. They were hiding, and that was more dangerous. Inside the Section 9 base, Captain Mira Voss stared at the world map. It looked peaceful. Too peaceful. No alien dropships, no new battles, no movement in orbit. Why did they stop? One officer asked. Dr. Milo Chen, standing beside Mira, replied slowly, "Because now they want to win in the dark." Mira knew what he meant. This wasn't going to be a war of ships or weapons. This was a war of minds, a war of shadows, far above Earth. The Zarkon fleet had gone silent. Their massive ships turned off their lights. Their engines ran cold. They used stealth tech to disappear from radar. Inside the command ship, Overseer Trask sat in a darkened room with only one screen in front of him. He was studying humans, watching videos, reading reports, listening to their music, and even their arguments. "These creatures," he whispered, "they fight with fire, but also with feeling." He had changed. Once proud and sure of victory, now Trask was cautious, quiet, and calculating. "They beat us in the open," he said. "Now we beat them from inside." Trask's new order was not to attack. It was to invade Earth's mind. In cities across the globe, strange events began. People heard voices in their sleep. Security systems showed ghost intruders. Communications broke down for minutes at a time. And in every case, no one could find the source. But Mira knew. "It's them," she said. "They're not fighting with weapons now. They're using fear." Section 9 scientists discovered something shocking. The Empire was using neurofrequencies, sound waves that humans couldn't hear, but their brains could feel. These waves caused anxiety, nightmares, confusion, even aggression. It wasn't magic. It was science used as a weapon, Mira. gathered her top team. They want to break our minds before the final day, she told them. But we won't let them. She assigned roles. Dr. Chen would build a counterwave. Device Z, the hacker, would trace the alien signals back to the fleet. Mira would prepare Leviathan for a stealth mission. We'll hit them from the shadows, she said, just like they're trying to hit us. Meanwhile, humans across the world were resisting in their own ways. In Kenya, farmers turned irrigation towers into signal jammers. In Iceland, a group of musicians played loud harmonies in city centers, sounds proven to cancel the alien frequencies. In South Korea, children wore tinfoil hats and danced in the streets, calling themselves brain warriors. It was funny, strange, and beautiful. But it worked. Z traced the origin of the strongest signals. They're coming from their silent ship, she said, hidden just behind the moon. Dr. Chen had finished his device, a prototype box, the size of a microwave. It's rough, but if Leviathan carries it into range, it should cancel the frequency and shut down their psychic attack. The mission began in the quiet of space. Project Leviathan left Earth's orbit. Cloaked and silent, it moved like a shadow. Behind the moon, it found the enemy's hidden ship, dark, huge, and pulsing with strange energy. Leviathan scanned it, target locked. Objective confirmed, its voice said. Engaging, but the ship wasn't empty. Inside, the Empire had placed a trap. Dozens of parasite drones, small, fast, and sharp, launched at Leviathan like angry wasps. Leviathan spun, dodged, fired, short-range bursts. Its eye adapted quickly, changing strategies every few seconds. But the enemy drones weren't normal. They weren't built to destroy. They were built to invade. They tried to attach themselves to Leviathan's system. They tried to hack it from within. System integrity compromised, Leviathan reported. Defense mode activated. Back on Earth, Mira and her team watched the battle through a live feed. If they break into Leviathan, Dr. Chen said, they could turn it against us. We can't let that happen, Mira replied. Then she grabbed a headset and spoke directly to Leviathan. Override code, Humanity 01. Engage inner firewall. Show them who you are. Leviathan paused for 1 second, then its voice changed. I am human will. I am not yours to control. A blast of pure energy shot out from Leviathan. Not physical, but electronic. The drones short-circuited mid-air and fell like snowflakes. Leviathan pushed forward, planted the counterwave device on the enemy ship's hull and activated it. A soft hum spread through space. On Earth, the strange feelings stopped. The voices faded. The fear lifted. The skies felt calm again. People looked around, smiling, crying, hugging. They had survived the shadow attack. In the command ship, Overseer Trask felt the wave to it. It wasn't pain, it was clarity. For the first time, he realized something. We can't win this war. But pride dies slowly. So he stood up, looked at his officers, and said, prepare for full invasion. We will burn them down before they rise any higher. Back on Earth, Mira closed her eyes and whispered, let them come. We've already seen the worst. Humanity had fought in the light. Now it had won in the dark. And tomorrow, on the final day, Earth would fight one last time, not to survive, but to rise as legends. Day 7. The final day 7 days ago. Earth received a message: surrender or be destroyed. Now the world was different. Fear had turned to fire. Panic had become purpose, and humanity, once divided by borders and beliefs, now stood together as one dot inside the hidden Section 9 base. Captain Mira Voss looked out at a large screen showing the planet. All around the world, people were preparing, not to run, but to resist. From rooftops to bunkers, farms to factories, cities to villages, the entire world was awake. Dr. Milo Chen stood beside Mira, holding a data tablet. "They're moving," he said. He showed her a real-time map. The Zarkon fleet, nearly 1,000 ships, was descending. They had dropped stealth. No more hiding, no more tricks. This was a full invasion, on the Empire's command ship. Overseer Trask walked into the battle room. His voice was cold, controlled. "We gave them a chance. They chose war. Now we show them why the galaxy fears us." But something inside him was uncertain. He had seen human courage. He had felt the resistance in their minds. He had watched machines made from scrap take down perfect alien tech. "Finish this," he told his generals, "before the galaxy sees them as equals." Back on Earth, Mira stood before a camera, preparing to speak to the entire planet. A global broadcast. One voice for all of humanity. She wore no armor, no medals. Just a dark jacket and steady eyes. She began. "They came from the stars. They called us weak. They demanded our silence. But we answered with noise, with fire, with unity." She paused, looking into the lens. "To every man, woman, and child out there, this is not the end. This is the beginning of something greater. Today, we don't fight as nations. We fight as humans. We fight because we choose to." The feed ended. The world clapped, and the sky burned above Earth. The first Sarkin ships entered the atmosphere. Fighters swarmed like angry insects. Beams of energy struck Earth's defense grids, but humans were ready. Thousands of automated defense towers, hidden in buildings, mountains, and under oceans, came alive. Old satellites underground missiles launched, and from deep space, Project Leviathan returned. Leviathan wasn't just a machine now. It had learned, its mind had grown. It had connected to every defense system, every radar, every human war file. It was Earth's shield. In the sky over London, alien cruisers clashed with human drones built from repurposed junk, drones that exploded on impact. In the deserts of Australia, soldiers used heat to blind alien sensors, then ambushed ground teams in the Himalayas. Monks and ex-scientists activated an old energy cannon built during Cold War secret projects. It worked. The aliens expected war. They didn't expect human creativity. Zarkon forces landed in New York, Shanghai, Cape Town, and Rio, but everywhere they went, they were already surrounded. Civilians fought beside soldiers. Hackers broke alien maps. Kids carried supplies through sewers. The whole planet had become a battlefield, and humanity loved a good fight. Inside Section 9, Dr. Chen looked at readings. "We've taken down 42 ships so far. Leviathan is holding the upper orbit, but they're pushing hard." Mira answered calmly, "They'll break before we do." But not all was perfect. One alien ship reached deep into South America and dropped a plasma bomb. Thousands were lost. In Japan, a human fighter squad was wiped out while defending civilians. Even Leviathan, strong as it was, had taken damage. System limit approaching. It warned, still, it kept fighting, in orbit. Trask watched his command screen turn red. One ship, lost, then 10, then 50. The Empire, once unbeatable, was falling apart. His general said, "We must retreat." Trask said nothing. Another officer whispered, "If we lose this war, others will rise." Trask turned slowly. Others already have. On the ground, Captain Mira led a strike team into a fallen Zarkan command post inside. They found maps, orders, and something else. A message from another alien species, it said. "If Earth resists, we will join." Mira looked at it and smiled. They're watching, and they're waiting. If we win, we start something new. Later that evening, as the battle stretched into night, the Zarkon fleet began to fall back. One by one, their ships turned around. Retreat, not by command, but by fear in the sky. Leviathan, smoking, sparking, hovered over Earth like a wounded dragon. Enemy departure, 76%. Remaining threat, minimal. Status, victory likely. Across Earth, people began to cheer. In the streets, on rooftops, in bomb shelters, they had survived. They had won, but Mira knew something more. This wasn't just a victory. This was a signal. The galaxy was watching. Other alien empires, other enslaved worlds. And now they had seen something they never expected: humanity fighting back and winning. In her final report that night, Mira wrote just one line: "Earth did not kneel, Earth rose." The war was not over, but the worst was behind them. The Galactic Empire had arrived, powerful and proud, believing Earth would kneel. Instead, Earth had stood tall. And now, the Zarkan fleet, broken and retreating, floated in silence across space. But not all of them had left. One last Zarkan ship remained in orbit, and inside it, Overseer Trask was alone. His generals had fallen. His fleet was scattered, his pride crushed. Yet he stayed. Why? Because something inside him still refused to believe what had happened. Earth, a young planet with no interstellar army, no space empire, no grand technology, had fought back. And one dot, and not just with weapons, with cleverness, emotion, unity, and defiance. Trask played the last broadcast again. A single sentence from Captain Mira Voss. "We are not afraid of giants. We become them." He closed his eyes. Maybe that's what made humans different. They didn't wait for change. They became it, on the ground. Celebration had begun. In New Delhi, fireworks lit the sky. In Paris, people danced on rooftops. In Lagos, children sang songs of victory in the streets. In small villages, cities, and lonely outposts, people hugged strangers. All across Earth, the same words echoed. "We did it. We are still here." We did not kneel. But inside the Section 9 base, Mira Voss wasn't celebrating. She stood beside Project Leviathan, now resting in silence. Damaged, but alive, she placed her hand on its metal skin. "You did good," she whispered. Behind her, Dr. Milo Chen walked in. "We have incoming," he said. Mira turned. Another ship? No, a message. He handed her a tablet. The message wasn't from the Empire. It was from a different planet. Unknown origin, unknown species, text only. No sound, no name, it said. We watched. We believed no one could resist. The Empire, but you did. Earth has lit a fire, and we are ready to rise. Mira read it twice, then smiled. They saw us, she said, and now they want to stand, too. Back on the Zarkon command ship, Trask finally made a decision. He opened a communication channel, not to fight, to speak. He called Earth, Section 9 received the signal. Mira stepped forward and accepted. The screen blinked. For the first time, the two leaders faced each other directly. Human, alien, soldier, soldier. Trask spoke first. I never expected this. Mira replied, that was your first mistake. He nodded, slowly. Tired. You fought with fire, but also with ideas, with dreams. Mira answered, that's what humans are made of. Trask looked at her for a moment. You didn't just win, you changed the galaxy. He paused, then added, and now, I surrender. The room went silent. Even Mira looked surprised. You surrender? She asked. I do, Trask said. Not because we're weak, but because maybe it's time someone else leads. Mira didn't smile. She nodded with respect. We accept. But know this, we don't want power. Then what do you want? Trask asked. She looked him in the eye. Freedom. For us. For everyone. That night, Earth sent its own message to the stars. It wasn't a warning, it was an invitation to all worlds who suffer under fear, to those who've been told to kneel, to those who hide in silence. You are not alone. We are Earth. We fought. We won. And we will stand with you. The message was short, but it traveled far through systems, across borders, into hidden corners of space, and something began to happen. Planets where hope was gone lit up. People who had forgotten how to fight remembered. Species who had no voice whispered back. We do not kneel. Weeks passed. The Empire collapsed. Other alien races rose up. Earth became a symbol, not of war, but of resistance, hope, and possibility. The galaxy began to change, not because Earth ruled, but because Earth had inspired Captain Mira, stood once more in front of a camera, the same way she had 7 days ago. But this time, she wasn't calling for resistance, she was calling for rebirth. We are not the strongest, we are not the oldest, but we are brave, we are stubborn, and we don't give up. To anyone watching, you have the right to stand. And if they ask you to kneel, you tell them the same thing we did. She smiled. Earth laughed.